but not as many points as we get to the ones where we look to who's going to be on that list next week. Let's start at the quarterback position. Marcus, who's the QB1?
Well, I'd say meet the new boss, same as the old boss. You saw Josh Allen score 51 points last week in that score fest against the Los Angeles Rams. Well, I think you could have a similar situation this week against the Detroit Lions. There are a couple of things the Lions do struggle with. They struggle with mobile quarterbacks and slot receivers. Anthony Richardson had a good game against this Detroit defense back in Week 12. He ran for 61 yards. Throwing the fact, we know Josh Allen's going to run. We saw him account for 6 touchdowns against the Rams last week. But also throwing the fact that Khalil Shakir, who's been running a lot of his routes from the slot, getting a lot of opportunity. So this feels like a great week to have a Josh Allen, Khalil Shakir stack if you are of such a mind there. But should be a really fun game against the Lions, and I think Josh Allen has another big week.
Noted on that stack. I'm going to go with Lamar Jackson against the New York Giants. Lamar is the only player with 250 passing yards per game and 50 rushing yards per game this season. He's had at least 22 fantasy points in 6 of his last 7. A great matchup here against the New York Giants. And Kendall, double check me if I'm wrong, but I do believe the Ravens are 4-1 after the bye in their last 5 seasons. So they're going to come out ready to play. There's no need to worry about them taking the week off, an extra week off or anything like that. So I'm going to go with Lamar Jackson as the QB1 this week.
Let's go over to the running back position where I share a lot of your sentiments, Frank. I think Derrick Henry will be the RB1, getting back to a touchdown streak where he's got 11 games with 1 or more touchdowns this season. That's the most in the NFL. Top 3 in the league in rush yards, rush touchdowns this season. And the Giants have allowed the 2nd most fantasy points to running backs in the last month. They may be nearing a territory where perhaps they're interested in not playing any more games this season. The Baltimore Ravens would like to continue playing games. And I think you get a solid Derrick Henry game and maybe shut it down.
And Kendall did confirm 4-1 off the bye over the last 5.
There we go. I like Derrick Henry's opportunity. I also like the opportunity for Jahmyr Gibbs and maybe to a little bit of a lesser extent, David Montgomery. Sonic and Knuckles doing their thing in that Bills-Lions game. It is projected to be maybe the highest scoring game of the week. We have seen how effective Jahmyr Gibbs can be all season long. But on top of it, if the Bills have a weakness defensively, it is against running backs, especially running backs who catch the football out of the backfield. 2nd most receptions, 3rd most receiving yards allowed to the position. So you can expect that Sonic is going to get some touches on the ground. He's probably going to get some targets through the air as well. And I think he's going to be a very productive option for you this week.
Let's go over to the wide receiver position, Rank. What do you see?
I was just about to jump in. I'm like, wait, do I need to
in outer space over here.
I'm going to go with Amon-Ra St. Brown. Again, I know that we go for a lot of the similar teams. The reason why the matchups are so good, and Amon-Ra St. Brown has 9 receiving touchdowns this season. And again, the Bills have allowed at least 2+ touchdown passes in 4 of their last 5 games. And I don't want to go with like recency bias or anything like that. However, I did watch their game against the Rams, and I'm like, you know what? I want to start the wide receivers against the Bills moving forward. I'm not saying that it's going to be a combined 90 points or something like that, but there is a good opportunity for that. So I want as many shares of these offenses as possible.
I'll take an offense that we don't necessarily want a whole bunch of shares of right now, and that's because there was no Ladd McConkey against the Chiefs in Week 14. Hopefully, Ladd McConkey back and healthy, and I think the rookie out of Georgia will be the wide receiver 1 in Week 15 because they are playing the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who have allowed the 3rd most receptions to wide receivers this season, the 3rd most pass yards per game this season. The Chargers need this game. The Bucs need this game. A potential for back and forth between Baker Mayfield as well as Justin Herbert, who I think will be so happy to have his rookie wide receiver back, and not as many balls going in the